Hello, 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 and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I am joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Indeed.
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into a neat little package for you to enjoy and consume at your leisure.
You're welcome.
So we got a bunch of topics to discuss today, including one that's kind of a more recent breaking story.
Indeed.
So without further ado,
let us bring in our first client, the Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid star, Halle Bailey, has revealed that Disney's upcoming live-action remake will be updating the themes of their animated classics to change the perspective of her just wanting to leave the ocean for a boy.
Except that wasn't the reason she wanted to leave the ocean to begin with. She was just curious about humans.
Yeah, she already wanted to leave. Doesn't she sing a whole thing, a part of your world? That's before she meets Eric.
Yeah. I think Halle Bailey has forgotten that part of the movie.
No, I don't think that Halle Bailey has ever seen said movie.
How can you have not seen this movie? I grew up on this movie.
Well, let's have you read what she said.
Okay. It's way bigger than that. It's about herself, her purpose, her freedom, her life, and what she wants. As women, we are amazing, we are independent, we are modern, we are everything and above, and I am glad that Disney is updating some of those themes. Blah.
Way to out the fact that you don't know the entire character you're playing. She definitely can sing.
Yes, but she looks nothing like the character. I mean, she can't even get the arch on the rock right.
I don't know if that's her or that's just CGI.
I can do the arch on the rock better than that.
This just proves that, again, if this was about casting the best person for the role, like they like to say, then she would be a super fan of The Little Mermaid. But saying something like this literally shows us, it's literally like a sign broadcasting to the world that not only does she not know what she's talking about, but that she obviously doesn't understand the character that she's portraying.
Clearly.
And if you don't understand the character you're portraying, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're playing the character, as we said, portraying them.
The main character at that.
Now, this movie is going to be a train wreck for multiple reasons. They've shown us what Sebastian and Flounder look like, and they're awful. And they haven't really let us see Ursula, which is concerning.
It's being played by Melissa McCarthy, which is already concerning.
But no, it's concerning even more because literally they haven't let us see her.
Yeah.
They didn't let us see Sebastian or Flounder until later on, too, and look at how they turned out.
I love Ursula, and they've destroyed her, I can already tell, because of who they cast as Ursula! Perfect opportunity for them to cast a drag queen, and they didn't.
Yeah, Disney, not very woke of you.
I mean, Ursula was literally based on a drag queen. They literally could have cast one. Wasted opportunity for them.
Of course they couldn't do that. They needed to just race swap and give people lazy hand-me-down characters instead of giving them their own, actual characters, because since when does Disney actually care about representation and diversity? They don't. They literally use it for marketing and outrage clicks, and that's all they care about.
Mm-hmm.
The only color Disney cares about is the one that's green.
Which they've been losing quite a lot lately.
I don't think they care.
Well, they should if they want to keep money.
Well, they have made some changes, so we'll see if this continues.
Yeah, I suppose. But regardless, this is a bad take.
That's an understatement.
You mean under the sea statement? Bad.
How did I know you were going to say that?
I don't know, but it was a really bad joke, so forget I said anything.
Okay, then.
Let's move on. Speaking of Disney, next up we have Indiana Jones.
I'm gonna wreck it! A new rumor claims that the rumored Indiana Jones TV series for Disney Plus will not be moving forward, and that Disney will be focusing more on expanding their line of Star Wars content.
I mean, I suppose that deserves an applause, but they haven't been doing well with Star Wars either.
Can we scrap Indiana Jones 5 too while we're at it?
Unfortunately, no.
'Cause, I mean, the TV show might have been decent.
I would have preferred young Indiana Jones from the old days.
But you see, they pretend that doesn't exist.
Unfortunately.
Indiana Jones 5 is stupid. They didn't need to do it. They could have left it open-ended, but they, of course, had to end it, and of course, we know that it's going to be an ending. That's what it is. The TV series, not much was known about it, except for that it was going to be centered around Marion Ravenwood. That's pretty much all we knew.
Then why not call it the Marion Show instead of the Indiana Jones Show?
It was apparently going to be called Ravenwood. I don't know. Regardless, this is a rumor, so this show still might come out. They're focusing on Star Wars content and stuff because they've realized finally that maybe the quality of what they're putting out isn't that good.
Really now?
It took them a while.
Took them way too long.
Disney, every single other person knew this way before you and was trying to tell you, and you just refused to listen.
Mm-hmm. Sigh.
But now we're not going to get that, which is nice, but we are going to still have to look forward to Indiana Jones 5, and by look forward, I mean dread.
Dread is an understatement, my dear.
Indiana Jones was good. The first 3 movies were, like, the best.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th one, I know some people like it and some people don't. It wasn't my cup of tea. But they could have left it there and left it open-ended. Why do all adventures and things have to have an end, and they all lived happily ever after, or has this person died? Why can't we just leave it open-ended and let people explore things by themselves? Make their own things. Books, audiobooks, other things. Why do we have to have an ending to everything good?
Because these people who have the money to do so like creating their own fan fictions that turn into, that they can automatically make canon.
Again, have your fan fiction, but why does it need to be adapted and made canon? Why can't you just leave it as fan fiction and leave it alone? And then we don't need to have an ending. We can leave it open-ended for future generations to explore or pick up later on. We don't need to have an ending. It's like they have to kill off all these characters so that there's no way they can be revived or brought back because they need a definite ending.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. I got no answer for you.
Leave it open-ended. Why not? Oh, that's right, because money.
Or what they think is money.
Well, they're getting it, but not enough of it to make them profitable.
Exactly. I mean, just look at their stocks, which are continuing to drop.
I can't wait to see how badly Indiana Jones 5 does. If the rumors of reshoots are true,
Which they probably are.
then we hope that they've changed it because of backlash. But even then, I doubt we're going to see something good.
Mm-hmm.
If it turns out that we're wrong, we'll obviously own up to that.
Yes. As we always do when we turn out to be wrong.
We're not opposed to admitting that when we're wrong, we're wrong.
Yeah. But this is still going to be a train wreck. Let's move on. And speaking of Disney, we have Victoria Alonso.
Marvel Studios Vice President Victoria Alonso has been fired from Marvel less than a month after the Walt Disney CEO Bob Iger called into question the quality of recent Marvel Studios film and TV series.
I seriously love what you did with her brain.
Well, that's literally what it's inside. For those who don't know, Victoria Alonso was also known as the person who literally said that the term XMen was outdated because there's lots of women on the team. Tell us you've never read a comic book without telling us you've never read a comic book.
Clearly, she's never read a comic book in her life.
And she's also said to be solely responsible for the animation issue. She also was saying that she was fired because she breached her contract, but then her agent came out and said that wasn't true. And it looks like there might even be a lawsuit as a result of this.
Yeah, which, if she knows better, she wouldn't do, because no one ever does lawsuits against Disney.
Well, I just think it would be funny to see either way. You get what you deserve, Disney. This person should not have been in charge of anything. The fact that this person, whenever she opened her mouth, said stupid things that showed she didn't know what she was talking about, says a lot.
Oh, yes. Then again, a lot of people like that are hired by the big corporations.
It's become a thing now where they need to have people who don't like the comics and don't like the stuff so they can do whatever they want with them.
Or don't even know how to read comics. Wasn't there a writer on one of the shows that didn't know how to read a comic book panel?
Maybe. But, well, here's something funny. People are saying, why are you hating on Victoria Alonso? She was there in the beginning with the original Iron Man and all this kind of stuff. Yes, she was. But she was a little more hands-off. As soon as the more she became hands-on, the more the Marvel product quality went down. I wonder if it's a coincidence.
No such thing.
Hands off, things are fine. Then suddenly she becomes vice president, whatever, and suddenly things take a downtrend. And whenever she opens her mouth, all she says is stupid things like, there's a lot of women on the team, it shouldn't be called the XMen. You're an idiot. It would not surprise me if she was fired for any of the reasons listed and her agent's just coming out and doing damage control. I would be interested to see a lawsuit because, first off, you don't, as my wife already said, you don't get into a lawsuit with Disney because Disney will just burn out your money usually.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether Disney has the money for that at this point, we don't know. But what we do know is that it will bring a lot of things up, a lot of secret information, things that we shouldn't be knowing about, behind the scenes stuff, and that will be some juicy details to dig into.
Oh, indeed. I look forward to it.
But, yeah, no one will miss you. I don't care if you were around for original good movies. They were good because you weren't involved with them.
Yep. Once you got involved, not good. Moving on. And speaking of Marvel, we have X-Men 97, or as Master has clearly made it, X-Men 69.
X-Men 97 executive producer Beau DeMayo recently revealed that the series story is informed by his experience as a gay black man.
Red flag!
This one's difficult to approach, because there's things I've heard about the show that make me concerned, and then there are things that I've heard that make me very happy.
Indeed.
We heard that they're planning to cover modern day issues. Not happy. Heard that the guy in it made sure that everybody who comes on it needs to be a fan of the original content because of what happened to him on The Witcher. Happy.
Oh, yes.
Then we hear this.
And hopes are dashed.
The X-Men, people love to hold them up and say, look, this was meant to be racism, this was meant to be whatever. No, it wasn't. It has been disproven multiple times, including by Stan Lee himself.
The man who created the X-Men.
You want to draw parallels, that's fine. But, objectively, it was not made to be any particular minority or any particular whatever. It was made purely because Stan Lee himself even mentions this. He was lazy and didn't want to give people powers and have to come up with a whole reason why, whatever, so he just decided to have them be mutants.
Mm-hmm.
That was the reason.
We've read his autobiography. We can confirm that is the truth.
That, and he said it. There's recordings of him saying it. There's interviews of him saying it. And people will go, no, they're obviously an allegory for the civil rights movement. No, they're not. Stan Lee has literally been asked that question, and he point blank said, no, I did not have that in mind when making them.
Mm-hmm. So, saying that this is informed by your experience as a gay black man is both irrelevant and stupid to say.
Just because you are gay and black does not mean that that is your personality. Nor does everybody else need to know about how that impacts your life. If it impacts your life in certain ways and you want to go make a show about that, go right ahead. But taking a show that already exists and co-opting it and saying you're going to use your experiences as a gay black man to shape it, that sets off a red flag. Not because you don't have maybe good things to add to it, or maybe that it can't be done correctly, but because when you have to come out and say that kind of thing, it's always a deflection from criticism. Because if people don't like the show, well, it was made by a gay black man, so you're just racist and you're homophobic. That's what they do. This is the literal go-to narrative these people go to.
Bingo!
I am tired of it.
We all are.
I don't care who you sleep with.
No one does.
I don't care what color your skin is.
No one cares.
All I care is, are you going to give me a good product? Is it going to be something that I can enjoy? And I've heard good things and bad things, so again, I'm not so sure. But hearing things like this just gives me major red flags, because this is literally what people say when they know they have a turd on their hands.
Indeed.
And I hope I'm wrong. And if we're wrong, we will own up to that.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Men original 90s series was very good.
Indeed it was.
And if this is picking up from there and doesn't take too many creative liberties, this could be a very good continuation.
Yes.
Especially now that animation has come so far, they can probably do a lot more with it.
Yes.
But hearing things like this, red flag, and automatically doesn't get more people interested, it turns people away from your products. It is not a marketing point. It is an anti-marketing point.
When are they going to learn that?
They never will, because these people claim that they're doing this for diversity and inclusion. If you want to normalize it, all you need to do is do it and not make a fuss about it. But you can't, because it was never about diversity or inclusion. It was always about marketing. And that's why you fail over and over. Not only does this not work, it gets people on Twitter to tweet about it, and that's it. That's it. No one spends money on your product, nobody watches it, and then you cry and scream, what have we done wrong?
Yep, every time. Literally every single time. It's really getting old.
So, maybe this will be good, but say things like this, I'm already less interested.
Same. Moving on. And still in the realm of Marvel, we have Jonathan Majors.
Villain or victim?
We shall see.
The actor Jonathan Majors, known for playing the role of Kang the Conqueror in the MCU, has been arrested in New York on charges of strangulation, assault, and harassment.
This news came while we were offline for our Sabbath.
I want to make very clear. He was arrested, but these are all allegations. We have no evidence that he's actually done this, and let's be fair, there have been plenty of cases recently of people being falsely accused for things.
One of which you can all remember in particular.
And turning out that the guy was not to be blamed. Now, if this is true, this is terrible.
Indeed. And if it is just an allegation and a false accusation, that's also terrible.
Exactly. Now, I don't know who Jonathan Majors is that much. Again, I know him more from Kang the Conqueror. I don't think he played a very good Kang, but people said he was the highlight of the film, so, obviously we have different tastes.
Well, the only instance we ever really saw of him as Kang was in Loki, and that was just not Kang at all.
And I want to make very clear, we haven't watched Loki, and we haven't watched Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. We've seen clips from it, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're just not interested.
Yeah.
But what I want to discuss here is this is a trend in Hollywood, where these people go and do terrible things, but they get off scot-free because they're this gender, or this sexuality, or this race. And I'm not saying that'll be the case here. We don't know. But I think that how many more of these people who are being hired for projects who are claiming to be our moral superiors, who are being lifted up by the media as heroes of modern day, how many of them are actually like this?
Well, I know one for certain.
Now, whether Jonathan Majors is this, we don't know again. It is all allegations, and we are not accusing him of anything. We're simply stating the facts and saying that we wonder how many more people have kind of secrets like this. Whether this is true or not, if it's false, I hope he gets his time in court, I hope he gets justice, and I hope he doesn't lose any roles over it.
Yeah.
If it is true, that is terrible. Either or, I really think that we just have to stop looking up to people in Hollywood because A, they never were our moral superiors, B, they're not good role models, and C, they are human beings and flawed just like we are. You watching this video are every bit as important and every bit as human as this person you're looking at on the screen. But mainstream media will make it seem like they are such on a different level that they can never be brought down to yours, and that's not true.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally the aristocracy.
If anything, these people are more inclined to do terrible things than not. So just keep that in mind the next time you look up to someone in Hollywood, because you need to have realistic expectations.
Indeed.
Now, to end this off, as I said, no offense to Jonathan Majors. If this is false, he deserves his time in court. He deserves his name to be cleared.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this so many times in the past that we're not just going to hashtag believe all women.
Never. I never even believed that to begin with.
Hashtag believe all evidence.
Yeah, that's the one I do believe in.
Well, that being actual evidence, not doctored evidence. But besides the point. If we see evidence, we'll continue to report on this. Until that point, he is innocent until proven guilty, and it does not matter whether or not someone accuses him of something. What matters is the evidence.
Indeed. Moving on. And next we have Justin Roiland.
In the seeming conclusion to this chapter of his career, Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland has officially been cleared of his previously reported domestic violence charges.
Yay.
I want to make something very clear before we say yay and before we read what he had to say. There are still other allegations, and there are screenshots going around out there, and if they're true, not good. We don't know the context, but still, the domestic violence charge was obviously false, and it was proven. So we know that. But the other things he's being accused of have not been taken off the table, and we do have to consider that there's a possibility that he's still done bad things.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, just like we said with our last client, innocent until proven guilty.
Indeed.
It is very easy to fake messages. It is very easy to do these kinds of things. And again, we're not saying they're fake. We're not saying they're true. We're saying evidence, please.
Proper, hard evidence.
So, as you can see, he posted justice. Now, honey, do you want to read what he had to say?
Sure. I have always known that these claims were false, and I never had any doubt that this day would come. I am thankful that this case has been dismissed, but at the same time, I'm still deeply shaken by the horrible lies that were reported about me during this process. Most of all, I am disappointed that so many people were so quick to judge without knowing the facts, based solely on the word of an embittered ex trying to bypass due process and have me canceled. That it may have succeeded, even partially, is shameful. However, now that the legal case has ended, I'm determined to move forward and focus on both my creative projects and restoring my good name.
Now,
well said, sir.
Now, we don't know if he'll get his roles back. I doubt it.
I have heard that they're going to be recasting the voices of Rick and Morty.
They already plan to, but if he's innocent, they have no reason to get rid of him. Now, whether there'll be a lawsuit, whether they'll like recant and take him back, at this point, I wouldn't go back to them.
Probably not, no.
If they were so quick to throw you under the bus, and it turns out that he's scot-free, he's actually telling the truth about everything, then I would never go back because they didn't trust you.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny isn't going back to Disney.
True. At least not that we know of. He might go back for the fans.
Maybe.
But regardless, I just think that we are such in a time now where people will jump to conclusions about people based on what they hear, based on what someone claimed, and they will just automatically condemn them without evidence. And it's a shame. And it usually happens to men.
Unfortunately.
This is a disturbing trend. Most of the time, men will not report domestic violence and stuff like that. So, when they're dragged out like this, a lot of times we find out that maybe it wasn't exactly the way that they were claiming. Now, was it?
Usually no.
The Me Too movement has ended. Evidence needs to be confirmed before making allegations. There should be no jobs dismissed and no things whatever gotten rid of just because you have allegations. It should be after it is proven in court, and if you want to say something, you can say that their future is being discussed or under examination. Don't fire and get rid of people just because you heard, well, he said, she said, then his dog said that.
They do it all the time these days.
It's stupid. It's not the way you approach these kinds of things, and it literally sets you up for situations just like this. Now, as we said, if what we've seen, the images, I don't know if you've seen them.
Which images?
Text messages between...
I have not seen them.
Text messages between people underage, and if all those are true, and he was drunk doing that, that's not good.
No.
And we're not condoning that.
But they still could have been doctored.
Correct, but even if they aren't, he deserves to have the context heard. And the domestic violence obviously was not true, and it was proven not true.
Yes.
So if he was fired over the domestic violence, that was ridiculous, stupid, and again, I'm not a huge fan of Rick and Morty anymore, to be fair, but I don't think he deserved to lose his job.
Agreed. Moving on. And lastly, we have Doctor Who.
Derp's Day, the world's greatest
Asin.
To celebrate Doctor Who's 60th anniversary, the BBC has introduced a multi-platform story called Doomsday, which focuses on Doom, the world's greatest assassin.
Except they don't know the first thing about assassinating.
And they are supposedly a comedian and they don't know how to act.
She also looks like a meth addict.
I made her look better.
Yeah, clearly.
Now, she blocked me on Twitter because I said she was already playing victim, and I was like, maybe you should take a step back and not accuse people of things and get mad at fans. You know, just take a step back and just say, okay, you know what, let them do whatever they want, and I'll prove them in the role. And of course, I was very nice, but of course, that means block, because, hey, don't do things that will alienate fans. That might not be good for your career. Immediately does things that will alienate fans. It's not good for her career. We don't need this in Doctor Who.
No. But the thing that bothers me the most, like I said, is that they don't know the first thing about being an assassin when they're writing this. Assassins pride themselves on just being anonymous. No assassin in his or her right mind is going to send out a transmission saying that they need help and are going to find somebody. That's just stupid.
But they need content, and also they're being pursued by death, and they must find the Doctor. The acting was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
There was not funny.
No.
And I've heard people are saying that this is not from Russell T Davies. I disagree.
Do explain why you disagree.
Because this is the 60th anniversary. And if you will recall, we're having David Tennant come back along with Catherine Tate and whatever. One of the most well-received episodes of Russell T Davies' run was called Doomsday. One word. This one's called Doomsday. Now, it could just be a play on that, but I find it very hard to believe that they have him come back and he's suddenly referencing one of his most well-loved episodes and with this. Now, this does not necessarily affect the current state of Doctor Who nor my enjoyment of it because, again, I've lost all my hope for this series.
Yeah. I'm still so upset with their portrayal of an assassin, and calling it the world's greatest assassin is just an insult to real assassins. Sorry, but they're going to assassinate you over this horrible portrayal of assassination.
Well, then she's going to play victim. Oh no, they're attacking me.
She has it coming.
She literally made a post that said, I'm this and that, and also I'm political, and I'm this. But, hi!
She doesn't even have the proper physique for an assassin. I'm upset about this!
This could have been played off actually well. Let me tell you how.
How?
I bet I can convince you that this could have worked.
Really?
Imagine it's the transmission from Strax.
That would have been better.
And he's marooned together with Doom, the world's greatest assassin. And Strax is being Strax, and Doom is trying to get him to shut up. Because she's trying to be an assassin and doesn't want her broadcasted to the world.
That would have made sense, except they're not going to do that because companies these days never do anything that actually makes sense.
But that would have worked. But no, we need to have this. And again, this is just the current state of Doctor Who is par for the course. Again, my love for the show is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer am happy about it. I think that the show is gone.
We only have left a memorial shrine in our house.
Yeah. And I miss what it used to be. Now, can Russell T Davies turn it around? Don't know. But regardless, unless The Timeless Children is retconned, I will not be watching. I may watch the 60th, and it is purely for Bernard Cribbins and his last role as Wilf one more time.
Indeed.
To honor him, because his character was great, and he was an amazing person. But otherwise, I'm not going to watch this. I don't care. You bring back my favorite Doctor, it's not going to do anything to me. You need to give us a show of good faith. And the best show of good faith that would get most of the fans back is to retcon The Timeless Children, but you'll never do it.
Never.
This could have worked, but you screwed it up and you're not making a good name for yourselves.
Nope. Still mad. Well, whatever. I could go on about that all day, but we don't have the time. So let's move on. And with that being our last client of the day, it is time for us to reveal the diagnosis of the week.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you today.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for the week is pseudo-psychopathic syndrome.
Please explain.
So pseudo-psychopathic syndrome is a person with a mental illness whose symptoms make them seem like they're actually a genuine psychopath. They're not, but it can be anything, such as an example it gives here is borderline personality disorder. But basically, these people pretend or act in such extreme ways that it makes people believe they are psychopaths. They have emotional and social instability, aggressive behavior, cognitive disturbances, carelessness, abnormal social behavior, all this stuff. We see this all the time in Hollywood now. It used to be that people could be unique and people could have certain traits that made them quirky. But now it's become a thing where these people always need to play victim and always need to make themselves the victim and rage and cry. These people don't actually care. Halle Bailey doesn't care. This woman who plays the character in Doctor Who, this Doom, whatever, doesn't care. They don't actually care. When they play victim, it's not because they actually feel hurt or whatever. They know that if they do it correctly, they can completely get rid of all criticism. And they pretend to be offended. So that's why I think that this fits quite well, because it literally shows the embodiment of these actors, these entitled people who need to be right and can never take criticism. And that's why I feel this is a great diagnosis for this week.
I agree.
And now we move on to the remedy of the week.
And this week we are sending you to our friend Snowdub, master of puppets, though not the Metallica version, who does reviews, music, live streams, and is all around a good guy.
Yeah, Snowdub is a friend of ours. He does lots of puppet stuff. He's actually very, very close to 2,000 subscribers. I don't know if we can push him over, but we wanted to give him a shout out and send people over there because he does a great show. As we said, he's been a good guy to us. He's always been there to support us. And he's just an overall good guy. So if you want some cool content with puppets, reporting on pop culture and stuff like that, he's your guy. And he does these live shows, which are very exciting to watch and are something that if you want to see something new and unique, you will not be disappointed.
So grab your puppet, head on over there, and let him know that Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed. But that is all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. But remember, when you do subscribe, your first session is free, so smash those buttons like they're bad kitties. And do consider joining us at the dusk, midnight, or dawn level. We would appreciate it quite a lot. You can also find links to all of our socials in the description below, as well as links to our merch store and our Discord server known as The Clinic. Be sure to check them out. And if you don't want to stick with us on YouTube, you can also find us on Rumble and Odyssey.
But that's all we have for this week, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.